So, Andrei, how are you doing?
Good, James. How are you?
I'm really well. So, everybody, this is a bit of a role rehearsal. So, Andre is the sales director at Aircall, and Aircall are the number one phone system for sales and support teams and across your organization. And unusually, when I put this request in, Andre thought it would be interesting, as I've been through a bit of a small journey of a one-man band to having to scale up a team this year in the lead up to our annual conference. He thought he'd take the opportunity to ask me the questions. So, Andre, over to you. You lead.
Beautiful. Thanks, James. And I love doing this. I think all of you, you've probably known Sales Confidence as this amazing organization organizing such events as today, but probably you can all guess that behind Sales Confidence it is a company. It is a company with a sales team, and that's what I wanted to hear first from James here, who's running this company, and yeah, as a matter of fact, Sales Confidence does use Aircall as their phone system for their sales team. So I did think that there was an interesting use case here, and I'll maybe kickstart with a very, very quick story. Sometimes I do receive quite a few reach out, people trying to sell me something in a way which is, hey, here's our product. Is there a way of doing a partnership where we could use your product, Aircall, and you would use our product for free? And this is something that has always kind of like surprises me. I mean, on my end, there's no way I'm using a product this way. There's no partnership in business. You're a customer of a company if there is value added by the product that you're planning on using. And what I really appreciated with James and Sales Confidence, it was right from the beginning when Sales Confidence became a customer of Aircall, and when we decided to become a sponsor of Sales Confidence, there was no partnership of such. It was just a customer relationship, and that's I think what we're going to talk about today. So James, maybe if you want to give us a short intro of how actually the Sales Confidence sales team looks like, and how do you run it
So
very
to give
quickly?
everybody a background, so just to get a bit of an inside scoop behind the scenes, every year we kind of ramp up to our annual conference, which is SaaS Growth, Europe's number one conference. Every year, July. This year was held July the 8th. Now, this year we were expecting, before COVID, to be doing this at Old Billingsgate. And so my intention this year is we needed to build a sales team to drive sponsorships, to bring on more partners, and also drive the attendance, because our goals were 3 times what we'd done in 2019. So to begin with, I was used to just making phone calls in December last year via my mobile, and then over the last 6 months, we've kind of wound that back now, but over the last 6 months we built up a team of 9-10 people that needed to be on the phones. And so we had this problem where we were piggybacking Sales Loft's office at the time. I was hiring kind of 2 people a month because we were ramping up very quickly, but we had no way of actually understanding what their activity was, and no way for them to make phone calls other than their mobile phones.
So, I mean, and think at which point did you actually start to realize that you needed a tool like Aircall? What was the actual key pain when looking at your team and how they were handling their calls? I mean, they were of course using their CRM, as you said, they were using their mobile phones and such. At which point did you just started to think, hey, I need to switch to a cloud-based phone system? And maybe how did you end up choosing
Well, there
Aircall?
was a number of key factors. We had to understand that I needed to understand the productivity. I needed data now. I'd invested in inviting these salespeople and SDRs to join, and I needed to understand if they were being productive with their time. So it became obvious that we needed a phone system. And at the time, we were looking about potentially moving into our own office space. And so we needed something that could move with us. And I wasn't going to invest in a traditional phone system at that time. We also used G2. So G2, for those that aren't aware, it's a online review site. So we kind of knew about each other, yes, because we were courting you to bring you on as a partner. But as you know, I'm just going to use the best tool on the market. And so we had to bring the team together, and we had to get an understanding of the level of productivity. And that's when we took seriously solving this problem and identifying an online phone system.
Nice. And at the time, so your team was already using a CRM. How can you describe to us the so when you picked us as your phone system of choice, can you describe the onboarding process and kind of like how it was here, and when did you start seeing results from your team starting making calls with Aircall plugged to their CRM?
So look, as people have got to know me, I'm pretty open and honest online. You know, I do 1,000 jobs as the CEO, as the head of sales. I do not want to do anything to do with IT. You know, I'm always finding someone to fiddle with things. And so I was not interested in having to go through a implementation process that was complex. I need easy, I need big fat buttons, and I need simple. If you agree with fat buttons, put it in the chat. So I wanted it easy, and you know, genuinely, Aircall just came straight out the box. Within an hour, we had allocated phone numbers. We had organized the routing channel, and you as a team, your onboarding team, had already been in touch to set up a call all in the same day as soon as we had signed. So for me, you know, it was instantaneous that we were able to get set up and get moving at speed, and it was reliable. And so from that point on, actually something to mention, obviously our team went distributed. You know, COVID hasn't been kind to my business overall. So we've had to kind of wind back some things. But during our peak months in January, February, March and May this year, everybody was working from home, and we could still rely on the quality of the call. And that's something that's often questioned. I was unsure about investing in a VoIP solution, even as a small business owner, because I don't know if I can trust the call quality, and I expect a whole volume. I'm still a big believer, while I love social media, that the phone drives the business.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, the key aspect here, and I think the whole reliability has been the core focus here for Aircall. To give you a little bit of the story, and I think you James, you're probably aware of this one already. At the beginning, when our founders created Aircall, they said to themselves, okay, we're going to be the phone system of choice in terms of UX and UI, fully integrated with the CRM, but we'll need to crack call quality from day one, because in this business, you cannot do without. You cannot do without. So from day one, there was a whole investment built on the infrastructure, of course, but also on the internal resources in terms of onboarding the new customers. And I think it's something that you benefited from. And as you said, I think you started with the COVID story. I mean, what happened to you is what happened, I think, to 99% of companies, having their employees all of a sudden working remotely with internet connections that are somehow, well, it depends. And here that's where the call quality of the different cloud-based phone system is stretched and tested. And it's good to hear that for you it was a good experience here. As a manager, so as you said very correctly, you're the CEO, you're the founder, you're the head of sales, you're the head of success. But coming back to the head of sales, how do you actually leverage, now that it's all set up, now that your team is using Aircall on a regular basis every day to reach out to your prospect or to your current customer base, how do you currently assess who is making a good job? What calls are leading you to revenue, which is ultimately the goal of any company?
So a couple of things. One, you know, we've got it linked back with HubSpot. So I think the ability to integrate, and I'm aware now, I've become aware on how easy it is to Aircall to integrate with cloud solutions. But then it's the kind of reporting functionality. You know, I've kind of, at the time that we had the kind of peak of our sales function and we were in the build up to our event, COVID hit. You know, it was depressing, and a lot of people lacked some motivation just naturally because of the impact. And I had to get into the calls. So I actually had to get stuck in onto the calls, as well as seeing if me getting hands-on had an impact on performance. And the only way I could do that is by monitoring the reporting and the level of talk time and the volume of calls. And also I noticed that calls that I participated on, like any head of sales or sales leader would like to think, I was having an impact, and I could see that evidence in the reporting. Add on to that, we were doing a lot of coaching at the time in terms of responding to how our individuals were performing. And on that basis, we actually also integrated with Refract, and Refract are talking next. So the calls were recorded, they were connected via Aircall, and then notes and updates could be made so we could extract and increase the performance of the sales function during that time.
Nice. I mean, you're touching base here on exactly, I think, where we're heading at, and where, I mean, our latest fundraising, I think we communicated a lot on this. Our strategy has always been, of course, to integrate with the main CRMs and help desks on the market. But of course, once that was done, then it was to go after the whole other softwares on the market and building an integration with them. And this is where Refract, and when I heard that you had installed the integration between Aircall and Refract, I mean, that's just a perfect example of a company that wants to work in the proper way, having of course the integration with the CRM, but then getting even more value from their calls with a great transcription tool like Refract. That's really amazing. Now, maybe to finish, when we first meet each other, I think you talked about a lot of expansion plans in lots of different countries. I know that COVID happened and maybe things are potentially delayed, but how do you see sales confidence like in maybe 3 to 5 years?
You know, valid, COVID has been unkind, but I think in the future we want to take this community and put it in other European countries. But one of the dreams, you know, and this is a far-reaching dream right now of mine as a founder, is that I love to hire young people straight out of school, university, and developing their sales career. And so, you know, if we become, and it's going to take some pivot and some years, but if over the years we will be able to build a full sales function, you know, maybe we reach a team of 50, maybe 100, who knows? Scale's really important. And, you know, it's easier if we can grow with a company.
Well, I think what I'll just have to add on this to finish is that I wish you, of course, to follow this growth. But just to give you a little bit of a dream, maybe that's actually how Uber started in some of their international countries. They started with Aircall, and that was 5 years ago. On some European countries, they actually started with a simple Aircall license, and they weren't even 9 or 10, just like you on an Aircall account. They were just 2 or 3. And then I think everybody has seen the scale of Uber over the last 5-6 years across any country. But that has been their phone system of choice, basically, when they were 2 or 3, but also when they reached 100, 150 sales reps or support reps.
So Andreï, I can dream. I'm going to wrap this up now on my end. Thanks very much, and thank you for supporting. And that was a great discussion.